sitting as a juvenile court. We're here today for a detention hearing. We do have with us the Kimball County Attorney, Mr. Heap, present representing the state, and Chief Juvenile Probation Officer, Ms. Trull, is here. Ms. McSherry, Juvenile Probation Officer, is also here from the department. The juvenile respondent, Kylie, present with her attorney, Mr. Stedman. Her mother, Ms. Wilnick, is here with us. And we also have 4 folks from the Kimball County Sheriff's Office, I believe. The Sheriff, Deputy Green, Deputy Macha, Deputy Cook as well. I think that's everyone on the screen here today. Now, we're here today for what we call a detention hearing. We are not making a record of this hearing. And of course, we will announce that any testimony on behalf of Kylie will not be recorded. There will be no record made. So nothing that she says here at this detention hearing can be used against her at any subsequent hearing. And Mr. Stedman is here in his representation. So Kylie, good morning. And if someone there at the facility can unmute Kylie for me, that'd be great. Very quiet down there. So you know that we're here for the detention hearing, and I've appointed Mr. Stedman to be your lawyer. He's had a chance to visit with you privately for a moment. Do you understand that so far?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Miss Kimberly Wilnick, you are Kylie's mother. Is that correct? Will you unmute and answer my questions?
Yes.
And she is 14 years of age?
Yes.
And she was born on December 8th?
Yes.
And this is her with us on the screen. Is that correct?
Yes.
So today's hearing is to determine whether Kylie should remain in detention. And if we do so, we'll have subsequent detention hearings, or whether she should be released to appropriate adult supervision. Ms. Wilnick, do you have legal custody of Kylie?
Yes.
Does any other person have legal custody?
No.
Okay. All right. And so the purpose of the hearing here today is to determine if she should remain in detention or not. My understanding is that on behalf of the state, the juvenile department is requesting that she remain in detention. Mr. Heap, correct?
Yes, Judge, that's correct.
And Mr. Stedman, what is your position here today?
Our position after speaking to Mrs. Welnick is she's willing to accept the child back in the home under any conditions the court would place the supervisor.
After speaking to the mom?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's go ahead and have our detention hearing. The court has before it several documents that I think that were presented. We have 2 proposed orders, but we do have a probable cause report, a discharge plan, I think, from the facility, an affidavit of probable cause, and then, of course, additionally, an application for directive to apprehend. So, Mr. Heap, do you want to go ahead and proceed with evidence with regards to detention?
Yes, Judge. So you referenced the probable cause affidavit for arrest. That was signed by Deputy Will Allen. He's on a planned vacation right now. That's why he's not on here with us to go through that PC affidavit. But I would like to present that to the court, and I think Mr. of it. And then I was hoping to call Deputy Maha. He is the school resource officer, and I think he can maybe walk us through the facts as to why we have found ourselves here.
I guess Mr. Stedman, Mr. Heap's offering the affidavit executed by the...
Well, I guess, Judge, my concern on that is, I mean, normally hearsay is admissible in a detention hearing such as this, but my client still has a constitutional right to confrontation. So if he's unavailable for cross-examination, I guess I would object on that basis.
Well, all right. So I'll overrule your objection. We'll admit the affidavit for detention purposes here today. You have the sheriff himself as well as the resource officer to, I suppose, cross-examine, and we'll go from there. Do you have some questions, Mr. Heap, for Mr. Maha?
Yes, Judge.
So I'm employed by the Kimball County Sheriff's Office. I am contracted out to the Junction ISD school district as a school resource officer. I manage all three campuses: the middle school, high school, and elementary.
And you just heard me reference this probable cause affidavit that was signed by Deputy Allen. Are you familiar with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in that PC affidavit, it references a report that came in last Saturday evening. Can you briefly, or can you summarize what that call produced?
Yes, sir. So this past Saturday evening, I received a phone call from our dispatch in reference to somebody calling in. That somebody ended up being identified as Dennis. He told our dispatch that he had information on a planned school shooting that was potentially going to take place at Junction ISD. I asked them who was on duty and to get them to assign a person to call for it, because obviously I'm a school resource officer. I was off on Saturday night. And then Deputy Green made contact with the reportee, got a bunch of information from him. He called me, relayed that information, and I ended up making numerous phone calls to Sheriff Castleberry, the superintendent for the school, and that's about it. That's kind of how everything took place from the beginning.
And that phone call between Deputy Green and this reporting juvenile was recorded, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so can you maybe give us the highlights of what exactly he said? And was he able to produce any documentation of any communication between himself and the juvenile respondent?
Yes, sir. So Deputy Green kind of called me and relayed me all of the information that was told to him by, he stated that he only knows the girl by Alex. Due to my position that I'm in at the school, based off of numerous identifiers, able to describe her as, I knew she was this person that we have as an 8th grader. He said that they met each other approximately 7 months ago in a mental institution somewhere in, sorry, I'm looking at this now, somewhere in.
Was it near Dallas?
Near Dallas, yeah. And so I guess since then they have had a communication back and forth on a social media app called Snapchat. He said that everything's been fine for the past 7-ish months. And over the past couple of days leading up to Saturday, there's been numerous things that have happened communication-wise between Kylie that has made him alarmed to believe that she's possibly planning a school shooting. Some of those things were her starting out to be just doing research on school shootings, and then it became basically an obsession. And then he specifically said that she was overly obsessed with the Columbine shooting. And he also made mention that she said the statement to him that she was going to make everybody at school scared of her, and that she wasn't accepted in society. And that he specifically said that she told him that Monday, meaning September 18th, was going to be her last day at school. And then that she told him that she was going to leave school like the kids at Carl. He did say that I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Continue.
So he did say that she didn't make any direct threats to Junction ISD, but it was just numerous insinuations on top of insinuations on top of insinuations in a dating relationship with a subject that at the time we only knew as Tevin, and that he lived back in the Dallas, Texas area.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So after that conversation, y'all got all that information and got the Snapchat messages. Yes, were you able to look and you identified which juvenile he was talking about? And that was Kylie. And did you go look at her social media after that?
Yes, sir. So, excuse me. I ended up looking at, I believe it was her Instagram and her TikTok. And on there were a couple of videos. One video was almost like the best way I can describe it is like a montage of screen shots of the Columbine shooters, school pictures that they did at Columbine, headstones of the victims of Columbine. And then also, I believe there was one picture in the montage of a screenshot of the security footage from the actual shooting.
Okay. Along all those things, was there a post of what looked like a 1911 weapon?
Yes, sir. So they ended up sending us a bunch of screenshots and screen recordings of the communications between Kylie and him from Snapchat. And I guess there were some pictures that were sent from Kylie to what looked like to be a full-size 1911 style pistol. There was also a screenshot of a Google search that was sent from Kylie of a Googled search of a Tech-9, which Tech-9 is a submachine gun that was also used in the Columbine shooting as well.
So there was a Google search of the Tech-9, which is like you just said, the gun used in Columbine shooting. And then there was what looked like a picture that maybe wasn't from Google of what looked like a 1911.
Yeah, the 1911 was actually posed with a small dog. And then we later found out after making contact with Kylie that dog actually does belong to her.
We can still see you well enough to proceed.
Okay. So have you had dealings with Kylie in the past?
Yes, sir. I've had two minimal dealings with her, other than just the occasional walking by and pleasantries, hello, whatever it is. Since school has started, I have been requested twice by the middle school counselor to transport her from the school to MHMR. The first time was due to her making outcries of suicidal statements to, I don't know who they're made to, but they were brought to the attention of our middle school counselor. And then the second time, it was brought to the middle school counselor's attention that Kylie actually had cuts on her arms. And it was later, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was admitted from Kylie to the middle school the middle school counselor that they were from the night before, that she actually cut herself the night before and came to school.
So after your dealings, so those are both two mental health issues that occurred previously with Kylie?
Yes, sir, in the very recent past.
But nothing criminal at school?
Oh, no, sir.
After those dealings with her and you taking her to MHMR, and after all the stuff that happened Saturday, did you speak to the professionals that had dealt with her at MHMR?
Yes, sir. I spoke to two subjects. One that interviewed her, and then I spoke with the person that supervised the person that speaks with her. Both of those conversations.
I'm going to object to hearsay, Judge. It's hearsay within hearsay. I mean, these two people that aren't present that I can't cross.
All right. We'll sustain your objection. Go ahead, Mr. Heap.
So were you able to interview Kylie after the report was made from the other juvenile?
Yes, sir, I was.
And did you go to their house?
We went to the trailer park or the RV park that they're at. We actually made contact with them while they were in maybe a common area of the RV park. I never actually went to their actual trailer that they live in, but I did make contact with them in a common area of the RV park.
Okay, and did one of the deputies search the house?
Yes, sir.
Was a weapon found?
There was what we believe is to be the same weapon that was used that was posed in the pictures with the dog. It turned out to be a 1911 lookalike that was actually a BB gun.
After the search of the house so the gun turned out to be a BB gun. Was there anything else in the house of significance?
Yes, sir. There was two. So Kylie had her cell phone on her person, and then also there was a another cell phone and a laptop computer that were inside the trailer that she admitted that she's in common use of both of those items as well. I was told by one of the deputies, or multiple of the deputies that were there, that there were signs of personal narcotics use at the.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. I mean, I don't even know who these officers are. I mean, it's hearsay and speculation.
Do you know who those deputies were that searched the house that day?
Deputy Allen and then Deputy Suttle were the two people that I heard this information from. I don't know who all conducted the consent search of the RV.
I would renew my objection, Your Honor.
All right. So I think I'll overrule the objection. The indication from Deputy Macha is that there was, through his investigation, he's determined that there was signs of personal drug use. I think that's allowable, although it might have come in as actual hearsay. I think I understand the gist of the purpose of it. Mr. Heap, any other questions?
Well, lastly, Deputy Maha, you interviewed Kylie that day.
Yes, sir, I did.
And did she admit to any of the comments? What did she tell you that day?
So we had a very lengthy conversation with her. During the conversation, she said that she was what she called manic the day before. She did admit that she suffers from numerous mental illnesses and that she does not take medications to help her mental illness that's been prescribed to her by any MHMR or any mental health facilities. If we can go back again in reference to anything that she takes to help her, I know that there's multiple pictures and stuff that were taken off of her social media that shows that she partakes in drug use as well, specifically marijuana. So whenever I spoke with Kylie, she did admit that she was in a manic state the day before. She told me that she hadn't slept for, I believe she said 82 hours leading up to the night before. She stated that she does not remember most of what happened the day before. I did present to her multiple statements that it shows on the Snapchat record that she sent, such as her saying that, "Trust me, I won't do anything unless I lose my last string." She stated that one of the messages said that when I do it, I'm going to kill myself right after. Another one said that I cannot risk going to jail. And then another one said that I'm sorry, but I never know who I can trust with it. And apparently he believes he's down for anything, and I don't believe it. Some of these things are insinuating, in my opinion.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't think he's qualified to make that opinion.
I think as an investigator, he can make that assumption. Go ahead, sir, with your answer.
So in my assumption, or in my evaluation of some of these things that she has said, it is in my opinion that she's referencing doing a Columbine type shooting, seeing as the Columbine shooters did kill themselves during the massacre that they did. And one of the things that Beck did tell us is that she was planning on doing this with her boyfriend, who was identified as Tevin. And he said that if she was going to do this plan that she had planned, she was going to do it with him, which the Columbine shooting had two people do it. And then that last comment where she talks about, I don't know who I can trust, and that he said that he was down for anything, but I don't believe it. Say that I guess Kylie was upset with him because he backed out of their plans that they had last minute. So that's going back to the actual interview of her. She based anything that most of what I showed her that she actually sent on the Snapchat messaging, she denied knowing. She basically reverted back to her not remembering what happened the day before, stating that she was in some sort of mental state that she doesn't remember. Anything that I presented to her that I did not have proof of, other than saying that these comments happened over a voice call on Snapchat, she could magically remember exactly what was said during those phone calls, and denied any allegations of stuff that I couldn't 100% prove.
Were y'all able to make contact with the other juvenile, Tevin?
Yes, sir, we were. We actually we had White Settlement Police Department go and make contact with him at his apartment. I've read over their supplement the supplement there. I guess they maybe took a report in reference to it as like an information report, in reference to their contact with them. Give me 1 sec. I can pull so I don't speak out of pocket. I want to make sure I say exactly what was said. Whenever they made contact with Tevin, his actual real name, I'm pronouncing that right. He told officers that Kylie has been awake for 3 days straight. And he believes that she was having some sort of mental breakdown. He said over the past 3 days that Kylie would continuously talk about the Columbine shooting and how cool it was. Also told officers that told him that she had a firearm and that she wanted to shoot up a high school. Didn't ever actually go into specifics about the time or place or how a plan would be carried out. He did say that he's claiming that he never told Kylie that he was going to participate in any type of attack, and that he stated that he didn't want anything to do with it.
One last thing for you, Deputy. You said you had spoken to the superintendent of JISD, I guess, over the weekend while all these reports were coming in. What was the school's perspective?
You can either ask me about it, but the superintendent's actually sitting next to me if you would like to talk to him about it. Or do you want me to just answer that?
Tell us, yeah, what you learned over the weekend.
Yeah, so after speaking with, like I said before, I spoke to Mr. Wimberly the night of Saturday, and then everything leading up till now to try to keep him in the loop on some of the details. From what he's explained to me is that if we did not make contact and apprehend Kylie before Monday, that he would have had to cancel school for the next foreseeable future due to the threats.
Judge, I think that's all that I have for Deputy Maha at this time.
Any questions, Mr. Stebbin, for the deputy?
Deputy Maha, did you actually talk to?
No, sir, I did not. No, sir, I did not. Deputy.
Did you actually talk to the boyfriend identified as Tevin?
No, sir, I did not. The officers from White Settlement.
Yeah, I'm just asking if you talked to him. Did you talk to him?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay, so you're basing your information off of what you're reading out of Deputy Allen's PC report, right?
No, sir, I'm basing it off of the supplement report that was written by the White Settlement police officers, as well as I've watched. But it's not based on your personal information. Oh, no, sir.
Okay. And the gun or the weapon turned out to be a BB gun, correct?
The one that we found in the one that was found in the RV, yes.
Okay. Were you the one that found the BB gun, or are you aware of the BB gun, or did you inspect the BB gun?
Like I said before, I was not the one that searched the RV. The one person that I know for a fact that was in the RV was Deputy Allen, and there was one other deputy that I know was outside while the RV was being searched. But I don't know exactly who actually went in there other than Deputy Allen. I did see the gun back at the sheriff's office that was booked into evidence, and
that's what I'm asking you. Did you observe the gun in evidence?
That's what I'm saying. I did observe the gun, and it was a BB gun.
Okay, and it was a BB gun. Was it functioning or non-functioning?
I did not actually inspect it. I just visually observed it.
Okay, and you said that there were 2 MHR referrals on Kylie, that she was directed to go to MHR for, I guess, suicidal ideation and cutting on herself. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you or anybody at the school ever follow up with what MHMR's recommendation was for that?
That's going to have to be a question that's answered by the school.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you, did you follow up on it?
I cannot speak on behalf of the school, but I did not follow up on it. No.
Okay. If you know, are you aware if the school followed up on it?
Yes, they did. I have two members of the school district sitting next to me, and they stated that, yes, they did.
Okay. And was the school or yourself given any information about the MHR referrals regarding suicidal ideation?
Would you like to speak to them, or would you like to speak to me?
I'm just asking what you know.
From what they're telling, I can relay what they're telling me right now, but from what I know before this meeting, no, I don't.
Okay. And are you aware of the fact that Mrs. Welnack is in the process of seeking services from MHMR on behalf of her daughter?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
And the interview with Kylie that you conducted, did you record it?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And was her parent present or at least notified?
Yes, sir, she was.
Okay. And the interview with, if you know, if you don't, that's fine. Do you know if it was recorded by Deputy Allen?
It was not recorded by Deputy Allen. It was recorded by Deputy Green.
Okay. And the interview of the boyfriend, Tevin, do you know if it was recorded?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the information contained in the report I have, the affidavit by Deputy Allen, there are multiple statements in that which you referred to, things like she was going to be at the school on September 18th. It'd be a last day. I think you previously testified that. These statements, are you testifying that all these statements are basically were able to be downloaded by law enforcement? If you know your personal knowledge, were downloaded by law enforcement in the Snapchat? These are all, or are these statements what is telling you that she told him over the phone?
So we have some that we were able to observe on the Snapchat thread, and then he's saying that some of the statements were made actually over multiple voice calls that took place over Snapchat. We're actually in the process of getting a search warrant for this through Snapchat right now. Preservation letter is all you're being sent to them.
Okay, but what I'm asking you is, so the statements that are contained in the affidavit, they are a combination of an oral conversation that we had with Kylie and some Snapchat information. Is that right?
Yes.
Right. And I don't want to get into the minutia of it. I'm just trying to determine that this was a combination of things she said over the phone and things that y'all are trying to obtain through Snapchat.
Of course. Right? I'm just trying to make sure I'm answering you correctly, exactly what you're saying.
Right. So can we agree on that?
Yes, I said yes.
I pass the witness, Judge.
Other questions then, Mr. Heap?
Judge, I don't think I have any questions for Deputy Maha. I think I might want to call Deputy Cook. He's our designated mental health officer. Deputy Cook, were you able to meet with Kylie?
Yes.
As part of her interview with Deputy Maha?
No, sir. Not part of her interview.
Okay, so was it after the interview?
After the interview, yes, sir.
What determination did you make after meeting with her?
So when I went in to meet with her, I just I put the criminal part to the side. I told her I was there for just a mental health officer, and I was more concerned about the either the crisis situation that she possibly was going to be, or she's in, or is going through. And I was determined that she was deprived of sleep, and she hasn't eaten. So those were definitely concerns that I had, and just not able to really take care of herself.
So were you and MHMR in conjunction able to issue an emergency directive order to have her placed?
Yes, I did.
Was it your... Actually, Judge, I think I'm done with Deputy Cook.
Any questions, Mr. Seven, for Mr. Cook?
Yeah, did you record this interview?
The interview was still recorded in the interview room, yes, sir.
Okay. And officer, you're the mental health services officer. Do you have a psychological background or psychological degree?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. And your directive to have her placed, was the directive to have her placed detained in Victoria? Is that what?
No, sir. No, sir. I had her placed in San Antonio.
Okay. Did she actually end up in San Antonio?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where did she go to in San Antonio?
It's called Clarity Child Guidance Center.
Right. How long was she there?
I believe she was there. I dropped her off Sunday at 9. I wanted to say I picked her up Wednesday. So from Sunday to Wednesday.
And then after she was picked up, was she taken to detention?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you drove her from there to Victoria?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And so was your understanding that Clarity had determined that she could be released?
Yes, sir. They did declare that she could be released.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Other questions, Mr. Heap, or other evidence from you?
Nothing other than calling Terry Troll.
All right. Ms. Troll's been sworn. Go ahead.
Okay. Terry, I think we have your probable cause report that we've all been sent. Judge, I would offer that for you. And Terry, if you could maybe summarize what your report reads.
Yes, sir. It is basically background information learned about Kylie since Sunday. When I was made aware of the situation, I did not know Kylie at all. My first time meeting her was Wednesday at Clarity after the directive had been signed by Judge Hoffman. So she is the daughter of Kimberly and Wesley. She does live with her mother in Junction and has been attending Junction Middle School this school year. She began. She has not been in school actually since September 5th. Her mother has doctor's notes or provided the school with doctor notes for a week, but not from the 6th through the 8th. She's had some significant medical issues since being in school, but not really behavioral issues. She has told me she's been hospitalized. Clarity would be number 5. She also explained to me she does not take her medication as prescribed. She has other issues other than her mental health issues, which are being dizzy or fainting spells, as well as seizures. She also says she has severe fibromyalgia, and Mrs. Welnack says she gives her fibromyalgia medication to Kylie to take. She has a history of suicidal ideation, according to Kylie and the other reports I've received. But her mental health worker stated that there's actually not any documentation stating that she's attempted those 10 suicides. She reported that she smoked marijuana on the Sunday morning. She says it helps to ease her anxiety. She says her cutting makes her feel better, and that's why she does cut. She said that she became addicted to alcohol about the age of 13, but has not drank in about a year. And she says that her prevailing issue is anger, not depression or sadness. And that's about the summary of what's in my report.
So what would your recommendation be to the court?
My recommendation is that she remain detained in Victoria for several reasons. She has a history of mental health issues that, although she is working with Hill Country MHDD, she herself says she does not like taking the medication. Reports suggest that she doesn't take the medication. She has even said to the counselor that she does not, her mother doesn't make sure she takes the medication or provide the medication. She has a history of self-harm. She has anxiety. She has depression. She is manic and says she doesn't remember anything when she is in manic state. She admits to being paranoid or have paranoia with hallucinations. Those are her mental health issues. Now let's talk about the behavioral issues. She admits to arguing constantly with mom. Her prevailing emotion is anger. She not attended school September 5th. My understanding is mom will be removing her from school to place her in K-12 or another online school. She has dyslexia. She admits smoking marijuana to feel better. She has an obsession or fascination with school shootings. And so those are her behavioral issues that I'm concerned if she's let out, what she will do.
So basically, to summarize, you believe that she is, one, a danger to herself,
Yes.
and then could pose a threat to the public if she's released due to her mental health issues, her anger, and then the fascination with the guns and school shootings.
Yes, sir, I do.
I think that's all that I have, Judge.
Questions, Mr. Simmons, for Ms. Stroll?
Ms. Stroll, she doesn't have any prior juvenile history, correct?
That is correct. She has no priors.
Okay. And you said that she won't take, what medication has MHDD prescribed to her, if you're aware of that?
MHDD has not prescribed a medication. She said the previous medication that was prescribed through the hospitalizations, she does not like taking. She doesn't like the way they make her feel.
Okay, but she's not saying that she's been prescribed anything at this point.
She has been prescribed medication through Clarity, yes. She began that medication this week.
Right, but what I'm asking is when you said she doesn't like taking the medication prescribed, you're referring to prior instances, not the current instance.
That is correct.
Okay, and right now, it's my understanding that Mrs. Welnack is working with MHDD or an MHMR to get her prescribed medication, but she has not been prescribed anything at this point. Is that correct?
Not through MHDD. Conversations with them is they have not been compliant in that area.
So MHDD is refusing services?
No, that the parent has not been compliant in that area.
Okay. And who did you speak to at MHDD?
Jordan Wilson.
And did he tell you how she wasn't compliant?
Just that they have not gotten to that point yet.
Well, you're going to have to explain that to me. You said
okay, so
she was not compliant.
Yes, my conversation with Jordan was that mother does not like her on the medication. They were trying to get to the point of psychiatric evaluation for medication, and they had not gotten to that point yet.
Okay. And I guess, so just because mother doesn't like her on the medication, we can agree there's nothing been done by mother that's non-compliant, correct? I mean, give me a specific instance of mom being non-compliant with with Mr. Wilson and MHDD.
I cannot, because I haven't had any contact until Wednesday with Kylie or Kimberly. I can't tell you what's been done outside of that.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. So how are we getting to she's non-compliant?
Previous history says she won't take the medication that she's been.
But it's not the current instance of conduct, correct?
I don't know, because she's only been on the medication this week, and she's been hospitalized or in Victoria.
Okay. So you're basing your opinion on being non-compliant in the past?
Historical, yes.
Okay. But you don't have any evidence that she's been non-compliant right now. And Mr. Wilson hasn't gotten to the point where they've been able to prescribe medication because they haven't provided the psychiatrist yet, correct?
Yes, sir, correct.
You said mother and daughter both have fibromyalgia?
That is what they reported to me, yes, sir.
And you don't believe that does your office have the ability to do an ankle monitor and GPS services for home confinement?
We do not have a contract with a company at this point in time, but it is something that we can do, yes.
Okay. And if Mrs. Welnack can have her subjected to, I mean, the facility she's at right now in Victoria, what type of facility is that? Is that a mental health treatment facility or is it a juvenile detention facility?
It is a detention facility.
Okay, so we can agree that if she's got serious mental health issues, those aren't being addressed by professionals at a mental health institution, correct?
No, because she's not at a mental hospital.
Right.
Correct.
Can we agree that if she were released to her mother's care and had to be compliant with MHDD, that she would in fact have a better chance of receiving medication and being treated than she would in the Victoria Juvenile Detention Facility?
No, I don't agree with that statement.
Okay, so tell me what psychiatrist or counselors is she seeing right now in the Victoria Juvenile Detention Facility?
I don't have information as to who she is seeing.
Okay. Do you believe she is seeing a counselor or a psychological expert in the Victoria Juvenile Detention Facility at this time?
At this time, no, but I do have contact with an individual who was to begin a psychological evaluation today if she's not released. She is an LPC.
In Victoria?
Yes, sir.
But can we agree that, I mean, part of this is a means test to the least restrictive environment for the juvenile. I mean, based on the protection of the community and the juvenile, but there is a least restrictive test under the family code, correct?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're telling me that the least restrictive alternative of releasing her to the mother is something that you wouldn't recommend because of what you previously testified to?
Because I believe she's a danger to herself and others. Yes, sir.
Okay. And you talk about her I mean, there are no firearms in the Wellnock home, from what you understand, correct?
My understanding is there are not.
Okay.
Based on the reports from deputies.
If you know, and if you don't know, that's fine. But based on your understanding is there were no firearms found in the Wellnock residence.
That is correct, with the exception of the BB gun.
And you consider the BB gun a weapon?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
You consider the BB gun a weapon?
It can be used as a weapon, yes, sir.
Okay.
It is not a firearm.
I don't have anything further, Your Honor.
Other evidence, Mr. Heap?
Just quickly, Judge. So you said that there were previous reports that she had self-harmed, correct, Terry?
Yes, sir.
And do you know what she used to do that with? Was it something that was at the house, or?
I do not know what she used. I do know she went from the house. She self-harmed at the house and went to school.
Okay. And you said that she has told you that she's used marijuana and drank alcohol in the home that she lives in with her mother?
She used marijuana on Sunday morning, yes.
So at the end of the day, do you think that living with her mother, staying with her mother right now is she's being supervised adequately?
Not at this point in time, no, sir.
Oh, you froze up, I think. Sorry.
Anything else?
No,
Mr.
sir.
Any other questions, Mr. Heap?
No, Judge, I don't think so.
Mr. Stedman?
No, Your Honor.
Other evidence, Mr. Heap?
No, Judge.
Mr. Simmons, are you going to have any additional evidence?
No, Your Honor. Not at this time. I mean, our position is I've talked to Mrs. Wellnock. She would like the child returned home.
What is our time frame, Ms. Troll? I know we've got a tough calendar next week. We have 14 days. I'm going to...
You have 10, Judge.
10 actual days?
Business days, sir.
So we will be in Kimball County on the morning of Wednesday, October 4th.
Are you directing that to me, Judge?
No, I'm telling you that we'll have court. I'm going to order that the child remain in detention, and we'll set our subsequent detention hearing for 9 a.m. on October 4th. Are you available then, Mr. Stedman?
No, Your Honor. I have pretrial settings in Gillespie County that morning.
So while you're doing that, I'm going to indicate that I'm going to continue the detention and sign this order of detention. Everyone can, well, I guess our witnesses, the law enforcement can go ahead and log off if they'd like to. And we'll keep the rest of you to talk about scheduling. Okay, how about the afternoon of the 5th around 3 o'clock on the 5th?
That's fine.
Judge, if
yes.
she'll be released that day, that will mean we will have to transport her back at 3 or after 3. Just be aware that that's going to be a transporting issue.
If she is not released on that day, she'd have to go back to Victoria.
If she's not released, she'll remain in Victoria if it's done by Zoom. But if she is released, she'll have to be transported back at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I understand what you're saying. All right. All right. So let me keep Mr. Stedman, Ms. Truel, and Mr. Heap on here. Ms. McSherry can stay as well. Ms. Welnack, Kimberly, I know Mr. Stedman will be in touch with you, and Kylie, Mr. Clay will be in touch with you. All right. So
hello? I'm sorry. The
yes.
last couple minutes, I couldn't hear anything. Someone tried to call
Kimberly,
it.
I'll call you when I'm done with the court.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. So, Kylie, we're going to keep you in detention. We'll have another hearing, though, next Thursday, and we'll talk about where we are there and what our plan is going to be moving forward. So, Ms. Kylie, Ms. Kimberly, Mr. Stedman will be in touch with you, and we'll go from there. So if y'all want to go ahead and log off.
Fine, Judge.
Okay, so in a second, I'm going to go into a private room and speak with Mr. Stedman as well as Mr. Heap. And just a reminder that while I'm gone, you're being broadcast live on the court's YouTube channel. So Sheriff Castleberry better turn off his video and audio, make sure he doesn't do anything embarrassing while I'm gone, but I'll be back in a second.
Judge, I consulted with them. I can stipulate that the mother right now thinks it's in the child's best interest that she not come back into our home because they want to expedite the process to facilitate the transfer to the Waco Center for Youth. And the child at this time is in agreement with that.
Okay. Let's see. I'll move them both back in here and we'll of Kimball County, Texas, sitting as a juvenile court. We're here today for an additional detention hearing. We know that we have Kylie present with us, as well as her mother, Ms. Kimberly Wilneck, and she is represented by Mr. Stedman. Mr. Heap is present, the Kimball County attorney representing the state. We have law enforcement officers with us, as well as Ms. McSherry and Ms. Truel from the Juvenile Probation Office. Mr. Wimberly is here from the school district, and myself and Ms. Pager here from the court system. We're here for a juvenile detention hearing. Again, just a reminder, as I told you last time, Kylie, we're here to determine whether you need to remain in juvenile detention or be released with conditions to your parent. We are required to have a hearing like this every 10 days for a subsequent detention hearing. And of course, most importantly, you know that I've appointed Mr. Stedman to be your attorney, and he represents you in this case. I know that you've had a chance to visit with him here for a little bit of time this afternoon. We do have a new petition that was filed by Mr. Heap, but as most importantly, I think an amended probable cause report, which was executed by Ms. Truel, filed with the court. My understanding is that Mr. Stedman is going to stipulate and agree to the continued detention on behalf of his client so that we can continue to work for our assessments, which will hopefully lead to good positive placement. That's my understanding. Mr. Heap, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, Judge.
Yours as well, Mr. Stedman?
It is, Your Honor. I spoke to Kimberly Welnack, and Mrs. Welnack informed me, as she'd informed juvenile probation yesterday, that she thinks it's in Callie's best interest that if we facilitate the process for her transfer, she's willing to accept her back home, but she says that She thinks it's best for her to be detained to facilitate the transition from Victoria Detention Facility to the Waco Center for Youth. And under those conditions, she's not willing to accept her back home, so that can be facilitated and expedited as quickly as possible.
All right, so we'll continue the detention. Ms. McSherry or Ms. Trill, would one of y'all like to give us an update as to where we are in the assessment process and the application at Waco? I know a psychiatric evaluation was performed on Kylie. I think we're waiting for a report. And will one of the two of you kind of tell us where we are going from here and how long it's going to take us to get there?
Waco Center for Youth is a mental health placement, so it's facilitated through the local mental health authority. The psychological was actually requested the day after she was initially detained, which would have been the 21st. It has been completed. The testing part has been completed on Kylie. That was completed on her last Friday. And once we requested that on the 21st, they told us it would be at least 2 weeks to write it up because they were extraordinarily busy. And so we're expecting at least 2 weeks before we receive the final on that. According to the local mental health authority, they've gotten almost everything they need to have her placed at Waco Center for Youth. And there's not much of a waiting list at this time for females.
All right. Very good. So we'll await those assessments. Is there anything else from the state at this time then, Mr. Heap?
Judge, no, not that I can think of.
Mr. Stedman?
No, but we're probably going to have to have another detention hearing.
Right. We'll be back, I think, on the 19th is within the time frame. That's our next 2 weeks from today is a Zoom day for us. We can start at really pretty much any time of the day that's going to be sufficient for everyone. Link. Anything else before we recess then, Mr. Heap?
No, Judge.
Mr. Stedman?
No, Your Honor, but I have one ex parte matter regarding funding that I need to talk to you about.
Okay. Let me have you stick around. I'm going to turn our broadcast off. The rest of you can go.